What's a Jacob man? That's a Jacob man.
Kopaka is definitely my favorite Toa. He's always cool and calm in moments when even Golly would get mad. Although he isn't the friendliest Toa, he gets the job done. And he can easily channel the powers of ice. Welcome to my first Bionicle character study of my favorite Toa Mata and Toa Nuva, Kopaka. Kopaka appeared in 2001, arriving on the island of Matanui in a Toa canister, like all the other Toa. His mission was to find the rest of the Kanohi, which were the great masks of power, and defeat the evil Makuta, who was ruling Matanui, the island, for hundreds of years. As Toa of Ice, Kopaka was given the traditional color scheme of white and light gray for his body. He also carried two superb weapons that would help him combat some of the Rahi. His first weapon was an ice sword with a sharp design. Although it may look a bit primitive, it worked very well with the gear function used with every Toa Mata. His second tool was an ice shield, which he used as defense against the Rahi. Kopaka first ran into Matoro, who he first thought was an enemy, until Matoro mentioned the quest for the masks of power. Then a Nui Rama came out of nowhere and started attacking them. Kopaka saved Matoro and was then spotted by Nuju, the Turaga of Ice, who then told him more about the quest. The three of them then split up to find the masks of power, until Kopaka ran into Pohatu, his brother, the Toa of Stone. Kopaka's primary mask is the Kanohi Akaku, the great mask of X-ray vision. It allows him to see through walls and most substances. Pohatu and Kopaka eventually caught up with the other Toa, where they discussed what their purpose was. Then they split up to each of their koros, which were the villages, and searched for the rest of the masks. After collecting the Pakari, the mask of strength, on an island that was surrounded by the lake of lava, he got hit in the head by an ice chunk, causing him to go unconscious. He then received a vision of the two Toa Kaita, Akami and Rairua. He then awoke using his Kanohi Pakari to jump over the lake of lava. Although he failed, he was saved by Liwa, who then gathered him to another meeting, which was set up by the Toa of Earth, Onua. Kopaka and Golly then defeated Amauka, and the Toa then split up again to find the rest of the Kanohi, and they eventually regrouped at Kini Nui, the great temple. The Toa then received Golden Kanohi, which gave them all 6 powers of the Kanohi's great masks: shielding, levitation, X-ray vision, water breathing, strength, and speed. The Toa then combined to create 2 Toa Kaita. Kopaka combined with Golly and Liwa to create Rairua. Together, they defeated the Manas and the Shadow Toa, and eventually made it to defeat Makuta. After the Toa returned to Kini Nui, they realized that a new threat came out: the Bow Rock. These dangerous creatures came in swarms, and would threaten the very existence of Matanui, the island. After a little tour with Vakama, the Toa then learned the secret to the Bow Rock: the Krana. The Krana were creatures housed inside the face plates of the Borak, which controlled them and gave them the guiding intelligence. What they had to do was collect as many krana as they can in order to unlock the secret of the Borak. Kopaka and the other Toa were successful at their quest and collected lots of krana. Using the krana, they unlocked one of the nests and found a secret. Hidden below the surface of Mata Nui was a mega being, the Exo Toa. The Toa then put themselves into the Exo Toa, and they were then ready to combat the Barag twins. Once the two Barag queens were weakened, Kopaka combined his elemental ice power with the other Toa powers to create a protodermis cage, which encased the two Barag twins for eternity, causing an end to the Borak swarms. But the floor gave way, exposing them to energized protodermis, which evolved them into the mighty Toa Nuva. Kopaka still had the traditional color scheme of white and gray, but now he had a chest plate and 2 shoulder plates for armor. He also had a more solid shield and 2 new weapons that held in one hand. These 2 new tools were ice blades. Kopaka used them to channel his ice powers, and he could also attach them to his feet to act as power skis. The golden Akaku then turned into the Akaku Nuva. The Akaku Nuva allowed Kopaka and other Matornan Turaga surrounding him to see through walls and all substances except under Mata Nui, the island. During the period that the Toa Nuva tried out their new powers, Tahu got in a quarrel with Kopaka. Gali ended up breaking them up and trying to keep peace with them. The Toa then went into prorogation, since there was nothing new to do anyways. Most of the villains were already defeated. But a new one was yet to come. The Borak Call. Kopaka first noticed something wrong while he was making an ice bridge over a chasm by Mount Ihu. Borak Call had stolen his Nuva symbol, causing the bridge to break and Kopaka falling into the chasm below. But thankfully, he was saved by Turaga Nuju's Kanoi Matatu, the noble mask of telekinesis. While Kopaka searched for the Kanoi Nuva, Pohatu accompanied him, and they became great buddies. The Toa Nuva then regrouped to confront the Borak Call in Pauahi, but they were defeated. So then Liwa, Tahu, and Kopaka searched for Krana Call to slow the Borak Call down. Then Kopaka joined with Gali and Liwa to create Rairua Nuva to confront Borak Kaita Jakal. The Borak Call then pursued to Mangai to awake the Barag queens. In order to do so, they would have to plug in all 6 Nuva symbols into the Nuva cube. The Toa then realized this and tried to connect with their Nuva symbols. Kopaka did successfully, and so did the other Toa, and they were able to defeat the Borak Call. The Borak Call were then consumed by their own powers, causing them to easily be destroyed, and the Toa Nuva were victorious once again. Kopaka was then called to another meeting where the Toa Nuva would try and find a strategy to help defeat the new enemy, the Rakshi. But when Kopaka got there, the Rakshi had already reached the Toa Nuva. So Kopaka had to face all 6. He was doing okay until Vorak used his Staff of Hunger to suck out some of his energy. Thankfully, he was saved by Liwa, Gali, and Tahu.